Hello everyone, welcome back to Gundam Michael Wilson edition. I'm Drunken Dan.
Oh hey, fucking plot twist of the century, guys. Last of Us 2 sucks.
Hold on, I'm gonna pretend to be surprised. Actually, I was wrong, because we were talking after recording. We're like in the Solomon stuff right now.
Okay.
But yeah, well, shocker. Who would have thought a game that ends with She's the Last of Us 2 would be bad?
I mean, I'll be honest, I know very little about the actual game because I just don't care. I just find it shocking that, like, people, well, not shocking, but I find it more hilarious that it's like, yeah, literally everything everyone ever heard about the game and its development and everything going into it was bad. The fact that Troy Baker literally had to come out and say, probably under being basically told, yeah, you say this, that, no, it's fine, guys, yeah, you might have some problems, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Turns out it wasn't fine.
It was never fine.
Turns out, when your fucking stupid piss baby game, like, can't even get like Polygon to back you up for its stupid bullshit. What to remind us that even Polygon was like, yeah, this is fucking bullshit. It's like, yeah.
I mean, a lot of sites still gave it like glowing reviews.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, Polygon is usually. I feel like Polygon giving it the yeah, no, fuck this.
You know what actually was funny though? There was a reviewer who started making jokes because I can't remember. They said Last of Us 2 was like the something of video games, like with some movie, and they started just taking pot shots and making jokes about that, and like taking other games and doing it. And Druckmann got so pissed off he basically sent his fan base on them.
Last of Us 2.
I do like what someone said. Hey, Druckmann, if you can work your employees to death, you can deal. If you can work your employees to death and they can survive that, you can deal with being made fun of.
I mean, if you can fire a well-known and well-regarded female writer, so you can put yourself in a position, I think you can deal with a little bit of criticism.
But he's so woke. He's helping women get jobs by kicking them off of jobs. Wait a minute.
I mean. It's just, as I said, like, literally there's been nothing good about The Last of Us 2 before it came out. So the fact that it was this colossal train wreck, of which everyone knew it was going to be? I mean, even from the production side, as I said, where else would they explicitly have, like, Troy Baker come out and go, no, it's fine, guys. It's fine. Like, it's very clearly not fine. I don't know who you think you're kidding.
It's perfectly okay.
It was never fine.
It wasn't. Because, and to be honest, I'm still not entirely sure there are even zombies in this game that I think is meant to be about zombies.
I don't know if there are. I'm not, like, honestly, I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
There might have been, but I don't know of any. So it's kind of like, it's following the trend of, like, great classics, like, with The Walking Dead, but worse.
Well, it's like, at least The Walking
Dead.
Even
The Walking Dead remembers at the end of their season, oh yeah, zombies. Yeah,
that's
zombies.
the point. It's like, I found it funny that literally none of the anything in The Last of Us 2 was about the whole zombie apocalypse thing, which feels like it's kind of important in that game because it should be this whole inescapable thing. And I've kind of said before that I think there are merits to telling the story, the kind of story Druckmann wants to tell.
That's like almost every one of them, and almost all of them are just kind of like the equivalent of like a 16-year-old's idea of "but we're the monsters guys" story.
But that's what I'm saying. There's ways you can do that, but I think the exact way there's ways you do that. And yes, the crux of every zombie story is who is the real monster. It's
except for like Resident Evil, where it's like it's the corporations, dude.
I mean, corporations are run by people. Checkmate.
Right, but corporations are not people, though.
Aren't they?
No. I don't care that my government system pretends that they're people. They are not people.
Mm. Well, let's find out in a few years.
Corporation rights are not human rights. Trans rights are human rights, though.
Well, depends who you ask on that front, I guess, these days.
Except for I'm right and they're wrong.
Yeah, you are, but whatever. But what I was getting at is that the whole point of zombie stuff is to tell the story of man. What if man is the real monster? But the problem is I think the exact kind of method that they want to do that doesn't work in the zombie story, precisely because it's not like I said before, I think it's kind of stupid that you have this whole thing of, man, we want this to be like a story of this, like, of a gay character who's like who's abused and oppressed by these homophobes. It feels like, I don't know, the last thing when you're in this sort of zombie apocalypse is to be, yeah, man, we need to hate these people because they're gay, not just, man, we should hate these people because they probably have things that we want.
Right,
So,
they don't really they don't have as much of the luxury.
That's the point. There's argument. There's the whole crux of the thing is it's like when society breaks down and people don't have access to things, then they will turn against each other in an instant in order to acquire things. And as I said, that's the core how these stories work. And I don't know, it just feels like a really misjudging like what zombie stuff does and is good at doing, because like I said, it's not like his ideas are inherently wrong, because if you had a competent writer working on,
I mean, if you had a competent writer, Life is Strange would be good.
Yeah.
If you had a competent writer, almost anything that was poorly written would be good.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that. All I'm saying, what I'm getting,
except for maybe the Last Jedi, not Last Jedi. What was the last one? Fuck, I get them mixed up. Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. You get what I was going for.
They're both bad.
They are both bad, but at least if you're Last Jedi, it's like, oh, I'm after that movie. That's easier to work with. But either way, you could make it. A competent writer can make anything fucking work. But however, Neil Druckmann is North American David Cage.
I mean, I'd like to think David Cage is now North American David Cage.
No, he's still French.
No, because you see, the thing is, French writers generally are a lot better.
He's still French, though.
I want, you know what?
He is from France. He lives in France. He is French.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to
he is.
I'm going to give my French neighbours that benefit of that.
You know what? Then I am now Irish.
Okay, you can. Cool. What do you drink? Actually, that's a question. You are drunken down. What do you drink? And if you say Guinness, I actually know a guy who will fucking punch you.
I don't actually drink.
It's just because I know one of my Irish
when I have drank alcohol, I'll be honest, it's like the fruity bitch kind of stuff. That's what I usually drink.
It's just more that one of my Irish friends is like fucking hates the stereotype that all Irish people drink Guinness, because he fucking hates Guinness.
Guinness sucks.
He gets real
I don't even like alcohol, but Guinness is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not my kind. It's not.
I mean, it's not the worst. Like Blue Ribbon is there, but still.
So I just find it hilarious how he always gets butt mad about it.
It's kind of funny.
I also love whenever I talk to like Americans and like, yeah, I'm Irish. It's like, are you though? Really? I mean, really?
Well, that's why I was doing the crack with you and David
No, I
Cage.
know what you were doing, and you were doing it as a joke. I know people who do it legit. They're like, yeah, I'm Irish. Yeah, have you ever been to Ireland? No. Do you know any of Ireland's history? No. Do you know any of Ireland's historical figures? No. Okay. Can you speak any Gaelic? No.
No,
How the
but
fuck are you Irish then? To be fair, I know most Irish people I know can't speak Gaelic. It's a dead language. It's like how Welsh, right? Well, even though the Welsh people like to parade, oh look at our diverse language. It's like, oh look, we have our own language. It's like,
all right, speak it.
Very few of you fuckers can speak it though. No, instead they have to have all of their signs have to be in dual languages in case there's people who speak Welsh but don't speak English.
All two of them.
Spoilers, there aren't.
I said all two of them.
I don't even think. I think two's too generous. So, but yeah, The Last of Us 2 is apparently exactly the exact kind of trash fire everyone thought it was going to be.
So I called it. So I had a tweet that actually got some traction. That what I called it, and I have noticed this being more of a trend. Being a thing with games and like what tend to win awards, I called it basically the Oscar bait version of a video game.
It is.
So it's a game built to try to get a ton of awards from the Game Awards show this year.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's gonna sweep. It's gonna sweep a bunch of awards.
Unless there is no Game Awards this year, because they might cut it out, or they might not do it, because they might have it on about not doing the Oscars this year, because I mean, admittedly, a lot of that is because no fucking film came out because Hollywood's too ass backwards to realize that. Hey,
Well,
you can release things digitally.
people made the joke that they didn't do it this year because they knew that the Sonic movie was going to sweep awards.
No, I think the actual reason they didn't do it is because they don't want to spend the entire show having to list off all the famous people who died.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. I like how someone was saying, "Oh no, Dame Vera Lynn died," and it's like she's a fucking 103, man. It's like at a certain point, it's not. At a certain point, it's like, come on.
Well, that's kind of how I felt. Because I remember when we were recording one of the things and Stan Lee passed away, and that was kind of how I felt about it. I was like, yeah, it sucks, but he was old, like really old.
He was super old.
Like I'm not dancing on his grave. I'm just like, hey, it was his time.
Yeah,
Like I was sad about David Bowie because he wasn't really that old.
The Kirby.
Like, he wasn't young, but he wasn't like super old. Or,
the Jack Kirby estate might be dancing on his grave.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course they are.
It was Stanley was sustaining himself by feeding on the souls of his rivals.
And they're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I've run out of people.
I kind of like how.
I feel like the reason. So I feel like the Iron Sheik will live longer than Hulk Hogan just out of pure spite, because I think Hulk Hogan lives by getting people to make up with him, and then he kills them by draining their life force. And I think the one person he will never be able to get to forgive him is Iron Sheik, and that's how Iron Sheik will live, because Iron Sheik wants to live long enough to dance on his grave, and then he'll die.
I like how the.
Oh, by the way, I'm fighting Big Zam.
Nice. I kind of find it funny how the Stan Lee Jack Kirby thing has come out and become a lot more well known now. But kind of very few people talk about.
We've known about it for like.
No, yeah. But what I was getting at is I kind of find it funny how, comparatively speaking, the Bob Kane Bill Finger thing is far less well known or talked about.
Yeah, actually, that's completely. Yeah, you're right. If you want for the audience, go ahead and explain it while I fight Dazzle.
Basically, very similar to what happened with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and that Bob Kane and Bill Finger famously worked together to make the original Batman storylines. And at a certain point, they had a split, and Bob Kane, who stayed with Batman and the company, and Detective Comics, essentially just cut out Bill Finger completely in terms of anything. So for the longest time, and it wasn't until sort of a semi-recent lawsuit that this changed, Bill Finger's name was not credited for anything related to. You know, when it says based on characters created by blank, it would not list Bill Finger.
Right. I remember it was only oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it was only a couple of years. It wasn't that long ago that they basically were told, lawsuit, you gotta credit Bill Finger for his contribution.
I actually didn't know about Bill Finger for a long time. Like, I'm not gonna pretend I always knew about Bill Finger.
And in a slightly different way from Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, in that once again it's the kind of similar thing. In that one of them basically came up with the base concept, and the other one fleshed everything out. So Bob Kane came up with a lot of the basics on Batman. Came up with some of the basic stuff,
and
but
Bill Finger
did a whole bunch of the other stuff. Yeah.
Right. Added the detail work and all that stuff.
So it's that kind of, as I said, it's one of these more disastrous things. As I said,
and then Batman changed entirely when regulations came up, and they gave him a backstory and made him not use guns.
Yeah, well, he actually didn't use guns even for that long, did he? It was only a few issues before they were like, no. It was one of the whole defining features was it came about because was it Bob Kane's father was gunned down in a.
It might have been.
I know one of them had their father killed
with gun violence, so they stripped Batman of his gun. I know eventually he became a no-kill hero, but he was basically the Punisher in the early days.
Yeah.
No, he was basically the Shadow one in the early days.
If we're gonna go more for a time period thing, you're right.
That's kind of why they changed him, because they're like, oh, we might be getting sued here.
But yeah, I was just kind of thinking, man, it's weird that's kind of, even though I'll still say that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's altercation isn't quite as well known as it probably should be, and it's one of those things where, it was scummy, but it's kind of, everyone who was involved in it is dead now, so.
Right.
Which, same with Bob Kane and Bill Finger, to be fair, but...
It just doesn't get as much radio play, so it's kind of interesting to talk about.
Especially...
Where the Kirby one, a lot of people now know of it, so it's like, okay, It's like the equivalent of like, hey, let me show you the secret sheet in Contra. So, like, you know, it's just something that's kind of more common knowledge these days. Oh, actually, when he gets back, I just remembered something that I want to talk about that is Gundam related.
Sorry about that, I'm back.
There is actually one thing I want to mention Gundam related. So, you know how you and I, our understanding of Gundam as a franchise is that we know and completely know that WoW Cool Robot, regardless of what anyone tells you, is baked into the DNA.
Yes.
I have learned that is not a fun thing to say to a lot of people in the Gundam fan base because they get fucking mad if you say that.
I mean...
Because, what was it? This happened, like, in a post where someone was talking about Gundam Unicorn, and mainly the creator essentially doing the equivalent of power leveling mobile suits, which is, by the way, funny and something you can actually do because they do have specs for the damn things. But they were like, it's amazing how the Gundam Unicorn guy both gets it and doesn't get it. And I'm like, no, because of how he writes it with the war themes. And I'm like, no, this means he completely gets it, because he understands the whole theming, war is bad shit, and the drama of it, but also understands it's WoW Cool Robot. He gets it more than most Gundam people do, and nobody really liked the fact that I said that.
Because the problem is that people generally have the misconception that things can't be two things. Like, it's like, take Cowboy Bebop, right?
Right.
Cowboy Bebop is this phenomenal series that everyone loves. It has this, like, really rich, deep storytelling, but at the end of the day, it was literally created to sell toys.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Like, hell, I didn't know that until I think you told me in one of the recordings.
Yeah. It only existed because Bandai was like, hey, we have these toy spaceships we want to sell. Make us a series to sell them. And they were like, yeah, alright. We can do what we want, right? Yeah, sure, who cares? But
and then for the audience, that's actually why in Cowboy Bebop they have those long, over-the-top, like, loving scenes of the mechanical works of the robots doing their things. The robots, the spaceships doing their things. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at giant robots, so I got giant robots in the brain.
I mean, it's fucking it's Sunrise, so yeah, like, makes sense why you think you go there. But yeah, it's the idea that you can't have like something that is deep and thought-provoking and interesting, but is also like a cynical toy commercial, because you can, like, a lot of great like, it's that.
Oh, I love Zoids. It's literally just there to sell model kits of giant robot tigers.
I mean, for fuck's sake, let's look at Joker, which has been like the sort of critical darling recently. It's like, that's a film part of a billion-dollar franchise starring one of the most well-known characters in comic books. It's like, it is the same kind of cynical idea of trying to make money off the back of this, like, right. And as I said, but that's the problem, is that so many people do have this misconception that, oh, because it's not like deep and it's like it's kind of like the argument of people where just because something is dark and edgy doesn't mean it's good or generally thought-provoking. Like, there's a difference between something being mature and being adult.
Right.
Like, something that's mature is like is, as it implies, like, mature concepts and themes that are required, that do like imply
like,
some
if you want to
go
like if you want to go for, like, say, mature themes, you can use, like, a lot of the things, especially in the early parts of Persona 5, like with the Kamoshida stuff, like with what goes on in that arc, you can use that. But, like, if you want edgy, what would be a good thing for, like, edgy that's just shit? What would be a really good example? I mean, I could think of stuff, but what would be a really good example?
I mean, to completely contrast the difference between mature and adult, let's take... You know what? Let's take the last...
Actually, a good example of mature, Berserk.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, that is a good example. But Berserk is a mixture of both. Berserk is both mature and adult.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more along the lines of... Okay, I've got one. Let's compare, like, Jacob's Ladder to the Resident Evil movies. One's mature in the sense that it's dealing with these really sort of deep, these sort of, like, concepts that are, like, really unnerving or, like, really complicated, things like that, versus, like, Resident Evil movies, which are just kind of surface level trash with tits, ass, and guns.
Right.
And that's not to say adult stuff can't also be good. Obviously, I just mean Resident Evil, the movies themselves, are fucking trash.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But if we want something that's like it's edgy but trying to pretend it's philosophical, you could just use The Last of Us 2. Like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
If you want to use a recent one.
Well, if I wanted to be serious, if I want to be legitimate, then just say like Last of Us is a mature game, is mature, but it's not necessarily good. Versus Doom, which is adult but is good. There is a time and a place for both. But yeah, all of that to say, of course, Gundam is like it is woven into the DNA of Gundam that it is a cynical toy commercial. But just because something's a cynical toy commercial doesn't mean you can't have quality come from it.
Right.
Like
or
I
you
said,
can just enjoy it.
Cowboy Bebop is that example. Fucking MSG is that, because at the end of the day, Tomino can say what he likes. The only reason he got the show greenlit to start with was to sell.
They wanted to make toys.
Because Bandai was like, "Yeah, we can sell toys at this." So I can get people going that they want their thing to be something more than a glorified commercial, and it is. Like, Gundam is a series that, for better or for worse, has had lasting impact, not just on culture, but on people across the world.
Right, to the point where there were like, it was memes, but people were like, yeah, let's just replace statues with Gundam statues.
So, it is what people want it to be, but it's also, like,
it's also this.
Has to be what people don't want it to be, because that's just the nature of how it was built, of what it is. No. Sucks, I guess, but also doesn't, because...
I mean, I don't really care. Like, I'm fine with it.
Like I said, things can be two things. I've had this argument before about many a thing, of like, I've even had it specifically about like Godzilla, because people go, oh man, I really like the first film that they've clearly not seen, because it's all dark and edgy. I don't like the other films because they're silly, and it's like, there is a place for both, though. It's not a matter of one is superior to the other just by virtue of what it is, of traits like, oh, but it's darker or more serious. It's like, there's so many other factors that go into determining quality, especially if you are talking in a subjective manner. And of course, like, there are objective things you can say about games and movies to talk about their quality, but if you're talking about the way things make you feel, then yeah, that is subjective. Feelings are subjective for now, until we can roboticize them.
Okay, Robotnik.
I mean, I just want Android, to ask the question, tell me, do you Android?
Do they what? You were cutting out.
Is that too much to ask?
Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you were cutting out. Sabo, was he cutting out for you? You haven't really said...
Is Dan the one breaking up then? Because I can hear Sabo just fine. Talk.
It might be me. Alright, I'm alive again.
I mean, I kind of was wrapping up my yes, Gundam is a vehicle
what were we
to sell
saying? I
toys
forgot.
over it. Rant. Like, ignore the Gunpla that they literally made an entire series.
I mean, what? No, it doesn't sell
telling
toys.
Man,
Ignore all the
Gunpla
model
is
kits
love
I own.
and life.
Don't you want to build some Gunpla?
If you build Gunpla, your life will be better.
Actually, yes. I still have something I need to finish. You know, you make the jokes, but honestly, I started building them, and I just found it like a really relaxing hobby. Like, I just really was just relaxing to put the things together.
Same reason why people play Warhammer.
I guess in a weird way, yes.
Although at least Warhammer has the benefit of being batshit insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
For really any hobby.
That's what makes it special.
Kill the heretics.
Yeah, Warhammer is nuts.
Where else are you gonna get like mega religious fundamentalism and xenophobia? Oh, wait a second. You know what? That does actually remind me. It is gonna sound really disturbing.
I just have to drive.
But I was
a
kind
little
of
bit.
fascinated. I kind of got fascinated by the idea. So obviously, like, you have Japanese atrocities committed during World War II, right? And Nanking and all of that jazz, and that's awful. But I do always kind of find it sort of darkly funny that China, almost immediately afterwards, went on to do like the 228 shit in Taiwan. Like the almost complete lack of I guess the irony on that. Man, I can't believe those people would like invade us and then massacre us and put us under totalitarian rule. Oh, hey Taiwan.
Oh, they're invading right now. They're clashing with.
Oh yeah, there's a thing with them clashing with India.
They're fighting with India, but they're fighting with India with melee weapons and old.
Yeah, I don't know
medieval style tactics. It's because if they don't fire an actual shot, it doesn't count as war.
Yeah. Don't know why they care about India, because India's got its own problems.
Huh.
And
so they're just so yeah,
Maybe
but
they've
they're
played
just
too much
like
Civilization.
but we probably won't get in trouble as long as we don't actually shoot at each other. We just so instead, you know, they go around like this.
It's just war games. But I just find it sort of funny, the complete lack of dramatic irony in that sense of we're gonna hate Japan for the rest of eternity for the atrocities they committed. Anyway, about those atrocities we committed though, because I fucking love how China even put
Don't
up
ask
a thing
us.
saying
Keep
yes,
us
there were
on the UN,
139
please.
Taiwanese people who were killed during the occupation, or during their real military I can't remember the exact phrase they used for it, like the white period or something. I don't remember. But then I like how they said 190 something people died under the Chinese government, and then like actual censuses of Taiwan were like no, it's more like 50,000, and it's like yeah. So because I remember I was literally having this argument with this debate because the whole situation. I said, can anyone actually name a civilization that isn't like got at least one major atrocity under their belt? I don't think so.
No.
Like.
Oh, good. They gave me another gun tank.
Thanks,
General.
About because there's the whole thing of the sins of the father of visiting on the son, which I think is this absolutely ridiculous concept that kind of, even though you'd think on the surface people should go, man, that is stupid. Why would we do that? And then they keep doing it. This whole idea of these people in the past were monsters, so maybe we should do better and not just kind of hold these stupid grudges and resentments for centuries to come. But then they keep doing it. It just feels odd. Exactly, and it's like I don't know.
Hell, sometimes
I feel like
they even
that's
forget
exactly
why.
the problem and why we're having these riots.
It's like I hate them. Why?
Here it's precisely because, on some level, people can't forget things that they weren't even there to remember. On all sides, I should stress. Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's the end all
right.
be all.
There's also a lot of things that are just still going on too.
There are elements at play across the world of now we can't forgive these people who had nothing to do with anything with these things that happened, apart from being loose genetic linking.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Given how weird it is, given when you think of how many years,
well,
and
I just mean
how much
it's
people
the whole argument, or
it's more of a possibility
you've got things
than
the idea
definitely.
of white guilt or people, modern day Americans apologizing for what happened centuries ago, and it's like no people who are alive currently were there for any of that. So it's like how can you really have this argument of it's your fault as a race, as a people? It's like it's just inherently stupid. That's the exact mentality that led to all these wars and atrocities and death and decimation across all of human history. I find it, and it's when I said last week about how remarkably, despite all we learn, we seem to actually learn nothing.
We do learn. It's just what we learn. It's weird, and what we learn and don't learn. It's just weird.
I mean, as I said,
People are
we
flawed.
learn, but then
we do learn. It's just what we
as,
learn is
my
inconsistent.
father
It's odd.
says often enough. We learn so that we can recognize the same mistake when we do it again.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
I mean, you are in
Hey,
Space
can I use
Texas.
the ground Gundam in here?
You are on the ground.
Oh shit! I can use the ground Gundam.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that
Texas
reminds me.
colony.
Rooster
Nice.
Teeth's like dying or something.
Space.
Oh,
We got
that happened a while ago.
Yeah, that happened, but now it's like Bernie Burns.
Didn't they
is
get bought by
leaving,
Warner Brothers?
and also fucking off out of the country apparently.
Yeah, he's leaving. He's leaving America entirely.
Where's he going?
I don't think he said yet.
Oh.
But people suspect Australia.
Well, if he doesn't like the way, if he doesn't like the way the government works and censorship and such, he's gonna have a real rough time in Australia.
Man, I forgot how Amuro's Gundam specifically, when he's AI, is ridiculously overpowered, to where he just looks at something and it dies as it goes on in the game. Like early on, not so much, but as it goes on, he'll just look at a Dom and just kill it.
As part of now that Bernie Burns stepping down as CEO or something.
No, he's stepped down as CEO for a while.
Oh well, I thought he was stepping. I mean, Lukuve was a jobber, to be fair.
Mukuve is just getting fucking jobbed. I'm beating him up in my ground Gundam. This is hilarious. Oh, I think Amuro's gonna get the last hit, though. Yeah, he did. Thanks, Amuro. Yeah, I guess. So he didn't kill him with the sword. Oh god, Tim's here! We killed Mukuve, now Tim showed up.
As I said, I don't know too much about it, because I only sort of heard, Bernie Burns is leaving the country. Which, fair enough, I guess. A lot of people... Well, I think life in Australia is not going to be nearly as glamorous.
Tim, I wasn't fighting you. Can you go away, please?
The guy who voices Caboose, he basically got fired.
Oh, well, what he did? Do I even want to know what he did?
Apparently he's been like a really like racist, like hardcore, like against the political leaning of every other person in that company, and the recent events have just made him go so crazy that they just don't want to deal with him anymore.
Ah.
Apparently, in general, like he's kind of a dick. I remember like years ago back at Otacon. This is back when the early days of like fucking Red versus Blue. It was Jeff, one other guy, and him. And I just, for whatever reason, me being a dumb teenager, just like, hey, which one of you is the biggest asshole? And they both pointed at him.
Definitely. So they're like, yeah, they haven't liked him for a while. So.
Bro.
Red versus Blue. Well, wasn't it the thing that
they haven't liked it? That's like the beginning too. So that makes it even more fucked.
They did. If I can remember hearing something to that effect.
Don't know. Oh, is this the Lala fight?
So can you, faceless pilot, kill Lala and just
Might be the Lala fight.
Ruin everything.
Rid of that just ruin everything and get rid of that entire obsession.
I think you can. Oh wait, no, this one's not Lala. This is Chalia piloting this thing.
I mean, is Red versus Blue even still going on? Or did they kill it because, I mean, Ruby makes them far more money than Red versus Blue ever
I
could,
don't
even
know.
with Microsoft like basically endorsing it. Well, basically actively endorsing it. Like, I guess that's one thing you can't fault Microsoft on. They definitely early on
Right, I have no idea.
went in on like content creators and shit like that. You can fault them on like buying a bunch of companies and never doing anything with them, but you know.
Yeah. It was a really smart move.
Hey, we just bought Rare. What are they going to produce? Nothing.
I mean, that's also Microsoft's MO. Oh.
You know what's super
Amuro's
weird?
here
We
now.
still haven't heard about the fucking ARMS character in Smash. Like, that's meant to come out this month, isn't it?
Yeah,
said so.
not a peep out of
Yeah,
that.
they said it was June. They said, yeah, you'll be able to
Did
play
they
as them
give
in
it a
June. It's like, it's
Did
June
they
now. I
give it a
kind of
month?
expect
I don't
you
remember
to
a
at least,
month.
I kind of at least expect you to tell us which of those assholes it was.
It's almost
Especially
June's
given
almost
the fact
done.
that Smash is kind of in a bad spot at the moment.
Right?
Online's not great. And the,
Can't be at Evo.
like it or not, Byleth's reveal was a controversy.
'Cause
and
online
definitely
is crap.
And definitely has reduced the amount of hype for... I would say it has, like...
It
No,
really did.
but what I'm saying is, I think that the Byleth concept...
It just
I think
made
the
people
Byleth
whine,
did
but
act-
Smash
has
fans.
actively
Smash
kind
fans
of
whine about everything.
been a factor because it's the after Byleth and then people got told,
Not really.
will you let me finish a fucking sentence, jackass?
No, not really. And also, actually,
What I'm
he's
saying
played
is
a
you
lot.
had
It's
the
really-
Byleth thing, and then you have
Oh,
Arms,
cool, and then
and then
I'll
you
say-
have Arms,
okay,
which
jackass,
is
and then
at
I'll say
best
no.
a franchise that very few people have any direct interest in. So when you're saying to people, "Hey, is a new character coming to Smash?" and when you had really hype, like, you know, things that got people incredibly excited, like Joker and Banjo, and to a lesser extent Terry, and then maybe they don't, but people wanted Banjo.
Nobody fucking
I'm
plays
not
Banjo.
disputing that. I'm just saying
They wanted Banjo until they got Banjo, and then they're
Yeah,
like,
and
oh,
then nobody
right.
cared. It
Well,
literally has
that's what-
done nothing
I'm not
for the
saying
game.
Banjo is a character that he's played extensively or any at all. I'm just saying is that people were demanding Banjo and they got Banjo, and people were like, oh my god, they finally put Banjo in the game. And yet, and as I'm saying, I mean, I don't know if it did. I wouldn't say it did nothing.
And then it did nothing for the game.
I mean, how do you quantify?
No, it did nothing. Find a
I know
Banjo
one as
player.
well.
It's actually hard. Go ahead, do it. I know one. I know one Banjo player.
No.
Is it the same person?
I don't think I've ever played Smash with Carl.
Is it
You want to know
Carl?
why ARMS is in? ARMS is in because it's a Nintendo franchise that they don't have to pay extra money for and can
I'm not-
promote for future games.
I'm not even disputing why it's in or not. Like, I know why it's in. I just say they should have been. What I'm saying is that after you get onto DLC,
Honestly, an
Act
ARMS
2,
character
you've
should have
got,
been
like,
in the
this-
base.
You've got things like the Byleth thing and everything else going for it, and then the first thing you say is, yeah, here's an ARMS character. You don't even say which ARMS character it is, you just say, yeah, it's an ARMS character, and then you continue on with this, like, baffling silence about who it is or how they play, and everything like that. I mean, yes and no. I would
Yeah,
say,
it's
like,
just Nintendo in general with they're baffling with their reveals. Because remember, like, Byleth had literally no lead up; it just happened. To where, like, because there was, like, no hints on what it was going to be, people
the only thing
went
people
fucking
really expect-
batshit with the speculations of it.
usually you at least get, like... I mean,
Nintendo's
usually
terrible about revealing new information.
Well,
They're
the main
really
thing
bad
with
at it.
like Smash reveals, you got like usually
They
a
usually-
month
they
or
tend
so
to
before
shadow
they-
release
before
shit a
they-
lot.
or at least before when you have like a whole here's the trailer for them, here's blah blah blah. With the ARMS one, they've definitely just been like, yeah, you get nothing. Once again, it's like we don't even know who it is, and one of the other things is it's kind of important in this case to know who it is, because then that answers a bunch of questions about, well, what does this mean that characters who have spirits can get in? Because then people will be like, but Shadow
Right.
can get.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm not disputing that. Nintendo is just fucking stupid when it comes to their reveals, and honestly, I think that probably the character got delayed, and they just haven't said anything yet, because it's Nintendo, and their communication is bullshit.
They were like, yeah, no, we're working through it to get it done. And it's like, you do far better to just, like, come out and say, oh yeah,
that doesn't mean they didn't change their mind.
Who's going to hold it against them if you say, oh yeah, well, you know, global pandemic, we can't work on shit. Them's the breaks. Like, everyone will go, yeah, you know what, understandable. And
that doesn't mean they... that doesn't, but it's also Nintendo, who are famous for their bad communication. We still ain't even... All we know about a Metroid game is that it exists and is being made.
I mean, they did at least communicate that Metroid
Prime 4
was delayed.
Lala's here.
Like, they literally put out a thing that said, yeah, so the Metroid Prime 4 is in development, but, yeah, we didn't like it, so we're starting again. So, we'll get back to you.
I mean, like, we didn't even... What I mean is, like, we don't even know... Like, if it's an FPS, like, as weird as that sounds.
That's what I'm saying, it got revealed early.
Like, we don't know, like, diddly dick about that
you had, like,
game.
have to be, like, basically scrapped and start again. The real thing I question is, what happened to Bayonetta 3? It got announced, like, years ago. Oh, I guess that's the thing we should talk about. There was a place like... I guess that's the thing we kind of probably should talk about.
I forgot that it got announced.
PS5.
I legit forgot.
Oh, yes.
I'll say this, none of the trailers did anything for me.
PS5, not PS5, duh.
Okay, I am interested in that, but on the but there's two, but I'm kind of
I'm into the
excited
Miles
and
one.
also annoyed at it. It's that, it's a combination of factors in that, I'll admit, I would also be really annoyed if this was a full game, and I'll explain why in a minute. But yeah, it's the combination of, it's a remaster of Spider-Man on PS4, but they're not super communicative about that at the start, so it makes it seem like it's a new game. And as I said, I'm excited for it because hey, that's new. On the other hand, it's like it's not a new game. It's basically 90% of the 99% of the game is the game that we've already played, or I've already played multiple times.
Ah, Tim's here again. God damn it!
You play as Miles, and once again, cool, and I'm excited for that. Now, I will say, if it was a full game, I would probably be mad, and maybe even more mad. Because while I do like Miles, and I do definitely think Miles could hold his own game, I would not like Miles to be the star of a game when a game that's basically been promised to be about the Venom thing. Because I think doing Miles, Miles and Venom is a terrible dynamic, and it's robbing what is probably like one of my favorite Spider-Man stories of hopefully good action. Fuck. So what I do want from the Spider-Man 2 is I want it to be like a duo thing of playing as Miles and Peter. But I definitely want Peter to be at the forefront of that whole Venom story and not it to be here's the black suit, but it's Miles' point of view, because then it's like, well, then that's not A, a Miles story, and B, it's not like, like removing you from the meat of what makes the black suit stuff great. But anyway...
If we win this battle, this war is over.
No, yeah, I want that. I definitely would not be opposed to that.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, like, a Miles standalone game, I'd be fine with
come at the expense of one of my favorite stories. Like,
you just want Venom first.
Yeah, because my concern would be if you did the Venom stuff, but it was from Miles' perspective, you would lose something, because it's not. Because then it's like, yes, you can do a whole thing of Miles is watching Peter become a bad guy or get possessed, but then it's not like the whole thing with the whole. It's not working in. It's not. Because you would be doing it from Miles' point of view, you wouldn't get the whole nature of Spider-Man and Venom's like clash. It would be the Spider-Man and Venom clash, but Miles is sitting along on the sidelines going, "Yep, that's the thing, all right." That's why, as I said, I would love a Miles game, and I kind of hope that once they actually do Spider-Man 2, they do a Miles game, or at least a more Miles-centric game. Just I want Spider-Man 2 first, or. Ratchet and Clank, I don't care about because it's it's written by the fucking arsehole who wrote Mass Effect Andromeda. And B, I'm like 90% sure it's following on from the fucking reboot. And I hate that reboot universe, I hate it so much. I mean,
I don't really. I'm not a Ratchet and Clank guy, so.
And I kind of find it a bit hilarious
I'm
where
gonna
everyone's
die.
like, "Oh my god, there's a female Lombax in this game." Like, we all just forget Ratchet and Clank 2 happened. Did I dream that game?
Yes, you did.
I guess I did because
It was
I remember.
all in your head.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then,
Bond.
fuck, what else did they show off? Oh right, Demon's Souls remake, which, you know, it's being made by Bluepoint. They do good remakes. I don't know. We'll see. I imagine it will be kind of in the same vein as like the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and the game that will come out and everyone will be like, hey look, it's just like that game but prettier, and then kind of be subsequently forgotten about. Because game remakes, especially in the way that Bluepoint does them, are very different
Fuck
from
you,
film
Tim.
remakes. Whereas film remakes generally have completely asinine, stupid decisions behind them, whereas the way Bluepoint does it is it's like, yes, it's exactly the same game as you played, but shinier. Thanks, Amuro.
By the way, I died,
Oh,
so I couldn't
man.
fuck up the
Well-
the Lala scene, so Amuro kills her.
You couldn't avert. You can't fight fate, Dan.
I didn't
can't
have any of
fight
my
that.
good mobile
Now
suits
Lala
in
will be just
good
a
enough
mother
shape.
to him, and they'll both die in
Now
10
Lala will
years.
be a
Apparently
space
not.
ghost bitch.
Fucking. It's.
Now she's
Tim
just gonna be
Tim
a space
shot
ghost
my
bitch for all
fucking
eternity.
mobile suit down, so I couldn't do it.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Fucking ghost bitches, man.
Oh well. I guess Zeta Gundam is happening, boys.
Yeah, what else? What else? Oh right, Resident Evil 8, which is.
I couldn't stop Zeta Gundam.
Interesting. I mean, I kind of want to. I have a friend who's like going, man, they're going to make Chris Evil. They're going to make Chris Evil, and there's all these leaks and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, man. Capcom's done this shit like 6 times now. Like Capcom has done literally this exact shit, and not even, and like people, and
Fuck
even
my
in even more
sister.
ridiculous circumstances, because they did this shit with fucking Dante. Yeah, they did it with Jill, but I mean the Dante. I mentioned the Dante one specifically because it's like, who would look
Also
at Wahoo Wacky Pizza Man and think and go, oh man, they've made Dante evil for Devil May Cry 4 because hey, if you don't like know the twist, Devil May Cry 4, like super tries to pretend that Dante is a bad guy until it's like, oh by the way, this guy who wasn't Dante was the bad guy all along, and you're like, yeah, I kind of gathered that because it's fucking Dante. And yeah, they did it with Jill. And don't forget, they even did it in Resi 6 with Ada. It's like, Resident Evil has been, like, Capcom's done this shit, like, so many times that I just don't believe that it won't be some stupid hallucination or...
Resident Evil's done it like 3 times on its own.
Yeah, Wesker was always intended to be evil.
The only time it ever
and they're
actually
not gonna
happened was
turn
Wesker,
fucking
but
Chris
Wesker was evil in
Redfield,
his introduction
who,
game, so...
even though I don't particularly care for him, is still the poster boy of the franchise. I'm not going to suddenly go, oh man, now he's like...
Is their poster boy.
Bearing in mind, one of the sort of leaks that says about why he's evil.
They're not
going
gonna
to
turn
both
him
Jill and
or
Claire are
Leon evil.
violently have been violently killed. Or Claire and Rebecca. Oh, sorry, not Jill and Claire. Claire and Rebecca. So... none of them... Come on, like, that's what I'm saying. There's no fucking way Capcom would
Oh,
go
good,
that
my
route
favorites.
for Resident
My favorite
Evil.
too.
Yeah, and they're not gonna make fucking Chris evil.
Would kill those two.
It'll
Would
be
kill
the
those
same
two off
stupid
like that.
fake bullshit. Yeah, of course you would. And Capcom's
I won't
not
lie.
brain dead.
I won't lie if they do. I
know
would
that
actually be
people would
fucking pissed
butt-mad
off.
if they did. They know people would be insanely butt-mad.
It's not
about
Street
this
Fighter
shit.
5.
I'd be insanely butt-mad about this shit. So.
The thing is, I'm more willing to believe it than if you said Jill, just because it's not Jill, and they do not have the balls to ever kill Jill.
It's just, I don't.
An enemy ball!
It's like, oh, you don't think we have the
I
balls,
like
eh?
how it's like they don't have the balls, and then Zeon sends out a ball
Yeah, I
at
don't
me.
know.
I'm like,
PS5
what?
Captain was Zeon the whole time.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about you!
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to say because none of the games that they revealed
Oh, shit!
for PS5 have super interested me. And I'm not gonna say that like there won't be games on because you know, look, fucking Sony is king at get. But like, that's the thing. Sony's king at.
Oh yeah, there will
like,
be.
good-
I'm
good
not
exclusive
running out
games.
to get it.
It's
I'm not
just-
running out to get a one.
They've always.
They've al-
That's a lot of
Other
that
than
is just because
PS3,
they made
they've
the
always been
PS3
good
so
with it.
awkward
Like
to
they've been
develop
usually pretty
for.
good. PS3 was their struggle period.
And just like hardware that people
Yeah,
have, like,
where this
use
and the
of. And it's
PS4
like-
are not awkward to develop
Yeah,
for.
as I said, there will be stuff for it that will be good, and will make the thing interesting. But like the initial lineup, like literally, if I were to get it on launch, and I'm not even sure if this is gonna be a launch title. I hope it fucking is, because it's only a remaster, but it would be Spider-Man Miles Morales. That would be the only game, because my fucking goodwill for Ratchet and Clank died with both the movie and the game.
Right.
I've always preferred Jack and Daxter.
And I'm gonna be
but
honest
Jack
with you,
and
I've never
Daxter
been a
never
Ratchet and
get
Clank
touched
guy,
again. I'm kind of thankful
so
for that,
I
considering
have
what
like no
happened with-
interest.
Well, what Druckmann is, I'm willing to give Naughty Dog the benefit of the doubt and say that
And
a
what
lot
Naughty
of it
Dog
is
is
because they let
nowadays.
Druckmann run unopposed, which, yeah, is definitely. Well, that's the thing, is basically everything about The Last of Us has definitely felt like
Has
the,
led to everything that we see here.
Druckmann said this, and everyone basically had to go along because they made him creative director, and no one's gonna just oust the bastard. They should, they definitely should, but it's like how they should oust how Randy Pitchford should be fucking
they
arrested.
should.
But he's not, or he's not been taken out yet.
Yeah, Randy Fisher is a criminal.
Well, aren't Gearbox being turned
Probably
into a
never will
publicly
be.
traded company soon, or already are? I don't know. I remember reading about that, and it's like, well, if there is like if there are going to be like shareholders and investors
I don't know.
and a proper board of directors, then it's like, yeah, I probably won't want Randy because Randy is toxic. Yeah, basically, like everyone is completely aware of how bad of a person
He's
Randy
a
Pitchford
danger
is,
to
and
their
have often
profits.
made jokes about this fact. But the problem is because he owns the company, he can't act. No one can do anything about it until he does something so hilariously illegal that someone challenges him on it properly.
Right.
But, you know, until that day, probably say.
Hi,
that.
neighbor.
The other one who was arrested. Oh fuck me! I haven't told
Whose
you
lawnmower
the
is
funny
that?
shit that happened this week. Holy crap! Alright, so this policeman pulled up on my street, right? And I'm like, oh, what's kicking off here? Because
Go on.
you know what it's like. And then I'm sort of watching in mild curiosity, and then they fucking bring out a chair, a fold-away chair, a garden bench, or like one you would find in a park, and then a mattress. And they load it up into the police van with a police officer in full uniform helping them. And I'm like, what?
What?
I'm
That's weird.
What?
You know,
Oh, yeah,
I like this
that's
game.
a thing.
I really
EA
do.
announced-
But you know what I don't like? The space battles.
That's actually an interesting thing. EA kind of surprisingly has announced a Star Wars title
space
that I
battles
might be
are
interested
not
in when we
fun.
get some fucking gameplay. Well, apparently they're doing a thing where they're going to reveal gameplay.
It's EA, so I don't trust
question
it.
mark? Or soon, but then it's like, you could reveal gameplay, why don't you just show it with the initial trailer? But yeah, apparently EA is doing another Starfighter game, or making a Starfighter game. But hey, I just, you know what? I've said before that I think the biggest mistake
Yeah,
Star Wars
Rogue
ever did
Squadron.
was to stop having the War in the Stars aspect, and to not have space battles for. It's not even just a sequel trilogy thing, because fucking prequels don't have space battles either, apart from like 2. And I always. Yeah, Phantom Menace has the one, and
Right.
then the opening of.
One
Return
had
of
a
the
space
Jedi-
battle.
Oh, sorry, Revenge of the Sith has one, but it's like they're so undercooked, and they're also sharing a screen time with what is far more narratively important conflict with Phantom Menace. So it's like it's not really a space, but it's a space battle, but it's nowhere near to the extent of like
Right.
Battle of Yavin or Battle of Endor stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I really like Ace Combat 7, so we can just get that, but with like a Star Wars skin. Hey, I'd be down. Just make that. I fucking love though when this got announced. I fucking love though when I got this got announced. There was this mass thing on Twitter that said, "Man, we fucking hate
fair.
this original trilogy stuff. Give us prequel trilogy stuff." And I'm like, what baffling what?
Yeah, ever since the sequel trilogy thing happened, there's been like a weird like surgence of people defending and saying that the prequels are just good.
I don't know how.
Not even like, haha, I think it's
society.
funny. It's like legitimately.
They were
thinking
just
it's
that
good,
bad
I
that
don't
people
understand
were like,
it.
man, I really appreciate those prequels now. Remember when
No,
that was the worst thing we had to deal with?
No, I'll tell you what it is that people grew up with the prequels, so now it's like it's the twinge of nostalgia because I mean the prequels were a thing when the prequels were
So,
like
and
a thing
we're
when
also
we were
getting older,
children
yeah,
as well, when
that's
me and
a good
Dan were
point.
children. Sebo.
I was technically a child in 1999.
Fair. Allegedly.
Right.
But yeah, so we were young kids, and we were the exact demographic those prequels were aimed at.
I was like 10.
But, you know, not everyone is as intelligent and mature and clever as we are. So everyone, but well,
I just didn't like
okay.
them because I'd seen the original ones, and I was like, the original ones are better.
I was
To
just
be a lot
bored as a
less
kid watching
pretentious
them.
about it, I'll say that people have a lot fonder memories and probably aren't quite as probably were a lot less passionate about these things at the time. So that because until like sort of the like this sort of decade or these last sort of 5 years, like liking weird nerdy shit like Star Wars was weird nerdy shit that was frowned upon. So it's only now when a lot of these people are at this point where they can go, man, I have this, you know, innate passion for something, and that now they're like vocalizing it, and you have these weird like prequel trilogy. And you know what? Fair play.
Right.
If people legitimately like the prequels, I'm not gonna hold it against them. Like if people legitimately like the sequel trilogy, because you know what? I haven't even seen all the Disney movies, Star Wars movies. I saw enough, and I said, you know what? I'm just done. You can all have these movies. I'm out. So, you know what? Of all these people, you find genuine enjoyment, not ironic, not anything else, but you
Fair.
legitimately look at those prequel movies, and they give you something. They do something to your like twisted soul that makes you go, I like this. Then fair play, good for you. I'm not gonna hold that against you. I hope you legitimately watch those movies and can enjoy
That makes
them.
sense.
Do I enjoy them? I mean, I enjoy parts of them, but probably for the wrong reasons. Yeah. So, yeah.
Or for different reasons.
And I don't even to say that everything prequel related is bad, because it's not. There are some good things. There's Jen D. Tarkovsky's Clone Wars series is fantastic, obviously. There's a few video games set in from that era that are fucking godly.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Anything that only sort of has the light touch of
It's
George
it's
Lucas,
mostly
not
the
his,
stuff
like,
that isn't in the movies.
evil, not his sinister claws. Never forget when fucking
His
The
full
Force Unleashed
ass.
came out, and they were
His-
like,
his
man, we want to
entire
call our
ass.
character a Darth. Can you give us a Darth name? And he said, without the shred of irony or any kind of humor, Darth Icky or Darth Insanius. Never. The story goes that they were literally sat there laughing, waiting for him to laugh, but he didn't.
But he never laughed.
So,
You know.
but he never laughed. Why wouldn't he laugh? You know, honestly, I think probably in that period, if I came up to George Lucas with my joke Sith name,
so I'm not
Darth
gonna
Dark,
say
he probably would have been
all
like,
prequel
"That's a
stuff
good
is
one."
bad. It's clearly not. And I'm not even gonna say all sequel stuff is bad because hey, I haven't seen it all. Some people tell me the fucking Darth Vader comics are good, and I go, really? Those ones where they have Palpatine go? Do you know why our lightsabers are red? It's because they bleed. You think? Yeah. Fucking yes, that is in one of these like sort of these Darth Vader comics. It is
Wait, what?
exactly what Palpatine says. Because it's not just like a red crystal like everything else Star Wars has ever said. No, it's because the crystal bleeds!
Oh my god! That's like something a fucking fucking like 13-year-old fan fiction writer would write.
Dan, the crystals bleed.
I've been saying that a lot lately with some shit that's been being like thrown out as official media. Morty, they bleed! Morty, they bleed!
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You know what? All the other shit, that's not canon, but fucking bleeding kyber crystals, that's canon. Should always do some...
Nah. Don't forget, Uncle
don't
Palpy
forget,
was
Uncle Palpy at some
was
point
not the
was
real leader. It was some random chick. I know that from the comics.
Palpatine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's fucked.
Oh, who's fucking...
Actually,
No,
no,
I
not
know,
our
but
Uncle
the movie
Palpy.
never
One of the
actually
clones
said
of
about
Uncle
clones.
Palpy.
And it's that exact plot we got. The exact beautiful plot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's
You
technically
gotta
what
read
it
all this other
is.
shit in order to understand this, and even then, it's like, man, it's a good thing that there was no Star Wars thing that said you can't clone Jedi and Sith,
Including my
impossible.
tweets.
Oh, fucking wait a second. It was like a thing across like multiple EU stuff.
Wait, what was it?
At
Because
the
I don't
time,
know
it's
as much about Star Wars.
They deleted it. Yeah. And so.
Oh, well, that's
one of
why,
the
'cause it was
reasons they
EU and
legitimately
Disney
deleted
threw out
the
the
EU
EU.
was because Palpatine was resurrected in the EU, and they didn't want to deal with that. Turns out they did. They wanted to steal that.
They just
Fuck me.
and then they resurrected him.
I'm back, bitches.
I'm back, Yoda. You tried to bold Suncrisp.
So yeah, I'm
I
hoping.
love that video
'cause
so much.
Fallen Order wasn't a terrible game. It was just a super unnecessary game because, I mean, it's you know everything that's going to happen. At least with a Starfighter game, where you're not like basically saying, "Man, we've got to do this because we've got to get the plans to rebuild the Jedi Order," because that's a thing that we do. We clearly accomplish. It's like you can just have your fun space battle stuff. And as I said, Star Wars needs space battles because it's a war in the stars. And if we don't have them, it's just really fucking stupid religious shit that just gets stupider and stupider with every take. It's like, you know what would have made Revenge of the Sith a much better movie? If at any single point Anakin and Obi-Wan acted like they were friends, so that when Obi-Wan, in like 20 years, like if there had been a single moment where either of those characters had been friends, so that when Obi-Wan tells Luke like 20 years later, "Oh yeah, he was my greatest friend," you wouldn't have to spit out your drink and go, "I'm sorry, what?" When? I feel like Grievous was more of I legitimately think Grievous was more of a friend to Obi-Wan than Anakin.
You are a brother to me.
Yeah. Don't want to get clean,
Yeah.
so clean. Wait,
I mean, he did help him with his rehab.
Just talking about about removing my dependence on narcotics. Oh, okay, let's get you clean. I fucking love that series.
That is the best
saying
version
to a
of
friend,
Star
I
Wars,
sincerely
as far
hope
as
that
I'm
when the pilots
concerned.
are in the ships, their dialogue isn't this like bullshit about, man, we have to remember what we fight for. We fight for love and hope and all that shit. And instead they just do that bit from their episode 4 thing of, "I want ass!" I mean, yeah, we do. We fight fucking space Nazis, you dumb bitch.
We don't fight what we hate.
They're space Nazis. Stop fucking subtle about it, either.
That fucking quote. Oh my god! Hold on, this is the end of the video. I just kind of want to wrap this conversation. There's something I want to say for after the recording, though, that I just thought, just an idea I had. We'll see you guys next time with more of this. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.